It is bracket time. March Madness is here once again, and we are here to break down each and every single region and give you our Final Four picks. We'll also throw in some of our favorite bets to place during the next couple of weeks. This is Always Talking Ball. Tyler Noe, Lance Barton. Traditionally, we are a college football podcast, but this is our podcast. We'll do whatever we want to. We're talking March Madness this week because it is that time of year. It's one of the best times of year. We're going to jump right into the regions here, but before we get to that, if you guys are interested in joining a bracket challenge or a knockout/survivor pool, head over to X or Instagram. Always Talking Ball, always talk ball on X. DM us. Let us know you're interested. We will let you know how to join. Also, make sure you check out our latest gear from homefieldapparel.com. Scan that QR code in the top right corner if you're watching on YouTube. And when you get to checkout, type in promo code ATB15 for 15% off your first order. They have all kinds of basketball gear to get you ready for March Madness. Also, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and share with your friends. All right, let's go down to the bottom right, Midwest. We got Houston as the number 1 seed down there. Kelvin Sampson does it again. They seem pretty healthy this year. Obviously, Juwan Roberts sat out in the Big 12 championship. I think he's going to be back, but man, Houston, they just, like we were talking about the other day, Milos Ujan was just like, he came from Oklahoma, and like, I don't want to say the words that Kelvin Sampson basically said, but like, he's a lot tougher guy here at Houston than he is at Oklahoma.
He said he was a wussy.
Yeah,
basically. When he got to from Oklahoma to Houston, and there's no doubt, bro. You
got to be a man to play for Houston.
No, yeah, 100%. The emergence of him,
Mm-hmm.
of his play and elevating his play as this season has gone along, having that trio at the guard position for Houston now is just huge for them. Obviously, LJ Cryer, he's been playing basketball. I mean, literally, LJ Cryer was on the Baylor team that won the national championship. It seems like 20 years ago. But yeah, LJ Cryer, was he like a 5th-year senior? I think
5th year. Yeah.
Played a lot of hoops in college basketball. So, but they're just who they are, man. Houston's exactly who they've always been defensively, but they've got some shooters now.
Dude, they've got 3 guys who shoot 42% or better, and they shoot as a team 30, almost 40%, like 4th in the country.
Yep.
That's a lot different than Houston teams of the past.
Yeah, I mean, Houston last year is a Final Four team if Shed doesn't go down with his injury. But I do think we'll go through this here in a minute, like obviously through this bracket, but like overall, this is the best chance, as long as they stay healthy, that I think that Houston's had to make a really big run at winning it all, because of what you just said. Having multiple guys that can shoot it from the outside. Obviously, they're big and physical on the inside. They've got multiple bodies that can run at you in the paint as well. Just your typical Kelvin Sampson Houston team, but they also can fill it up and shoot it this year.
Yeah. As far as upsets go, first place I got to look is 50 minutes up the road, where West Lafayette is from my house. Well, as soon as I saw High Point get matched up with Purdue, as soon as I saw Purdue get the 4 seed over Michigan, when really Purdue should have been a 5 seed, but they got the 4 seed, but committee didn't do them any favors by putting High Point in their region. High Point is already a popular bet. It's been bet down from 9.5 to I think 8, maybe 7.5 now.
Wow.
People are betting on High Point. So that is probably the first place I would look. You don't see a lot of 4-13s, but Purdue went to the national championship game last year. But other than, like, if you look at the roster, obviously they've got one of the best point guards in the country in Braden Smith.
Yeah,
they got Trey Kaufman-Renn down low, but in my mind, people are going to hate me for saying this because I'm friends with a lot of Purdue fans, but I don't think their roster is filled with nothing but a bunch of mid-major guys after that, like mid-major caliber guys. Like, everyone wants to talk about Fletcher Lawyer, like he can shoot threes, but he can't do anything else. Like, Cam Heide had a good tournament last year, and everyone's kind of predicting him to break out this year. It just hasn't really happened. It hasn't materialized, and they just lost a lot of games. They lost some games at home this year that was concerning. They had a period where they lost 4 in a row. But Matt Painter's a solid coach. I would look out for a High Point there.
Yeah, I've been noticing a lot of people too, as that's been a little bit of a trendy pick for an upset there. I mean, the American Gangster, Will Wade, there at McNeese. I mean, again, a guy like Will Wade has no business coaching at McNeese, dude. That's such a joke. I mean, literally
Yeah.
what he basically got dismissed for at LSU is legal now.
Yeah.
And it's also too interesting that Will Wade went to Clemson. That's where he literally graduated from, as his alma mater. It's where he got his coaching start from, underneath Oliver Purnell as a graduate assistant at Clemson.
Mhm.
So that's an interesting story there. But this McNeese team isn't as good as last year's McNeese team. They're still solid, very solid. They're not as good as last year's team, and Clemson still got some really good veteran players from that bunch last year that went to the Elite Eight. They were also, too, at one point in the season, like really down the stretch at the end of the year when they beat Duke. They were one of the only ACC teams to beat Duke this year. That was during that stretch. Clemson was as hot as anybody in the country during that time. So I don't really want to go there with that either. For me, it's another 10 versus 7. Can Utah State take down UCLA? That would be one that I would look at. But other than
You
that,
really are Mountain West Lance.
I might, I might be, man. I might be.
If you guys the last year we did some college basketball episodes, like I love the Mountain West. Like I love watching Mountain West basketball here in the middle of Indiana, and I was all about the Mountain West. And then they just come out and they make me look stupid every year in March. And this year I'm not falling for it. Like that's the transition. That's my UCLA is my 5 seed or lower guaranteed to win round 1.
Okay. All right.
And I mean, I thought I like the way they play. I like the way they've come on here in the past couple months. Past month probably, but I mean, Mick Cronin's a heck of a coach. Like,
Yeah, he is.
Think what you want. He's probably a little bit of a baby on the sidelines, but he's a heck of a coach. He went to 3 straight Sweet 16s before last year. So went to a Final Four, and one of them as an 11 seed. So I just, again, I just Mountain West is going to have to prove it to me. Like they've been a solid conference. Like they're like a point below the ACC and KenPom, so like they're right up there. And but they're just gonna have to prove it to me in March, man.
So you ready for this? Like you got me there when you started. I think you jumped on me a little bit there with the Mountain West Lance deal. I said if I had to pick one, that it would probably be 10-7 Utah State over UCLA. Yeah. This is actually the only one where I don't have a lower seed winning in the first round.
Okay,
it's the only one that I don't. I've got UCLA beating Utah State.
Okay.
But I could see that would be the one that I could see the most. If Xavier beats Texas in the opening game, I could see Xavier or Texas possibly giving Illinois. Like I could see Xavier taking down Illinois. I could see Texas too.
Yeah.
I mean, Trey Johnson and Ryan Conwell in that matchup in the first 4 of Texas and Xavier. Conwell in his last game out of Madison Square Garden for Xavier dropped 38 points. And Trey Johnson is one of the best freshmen in the country, going to be a lottery pick in the NBA draft this year. So that is if you want to see 2 dudes go at it that are just absolute bucket getters, that first 4 matchup between Xavier and Texas with Trey Johnson and Ryan Conwell is going to be a lot of fun. But I could see either one of those teams possibly upsetting Illinois. Don't have it picked. I've got Illinois winning that matchup. But that's really the only 2, man, that I've got in here. I know you've got. We'll get to it in a second. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna start us off here. I've got Houston getting an unlucky draw.
Yeah.
Playing the 9th best team in the KenPom rankings, in the KenPom metrics, in the Zags.
Crazy.
It really is, man. I know that it depends on what you value. I mean, if you look at the predictive metrics, or if you
it's
look
just like football, we don't know what the committee values because they're touting quad 2 wins, but then they're touting other stuff and they're giving Gonzaga 8 seeds. Like
I agree 1,000% listening to Gary Parrish on their pod, man, previewing this bracket when he said that, when you look at all the metrics and then you go, okay, well now I'm going to I got Gonzaga here. No, I'm not making a Gonzaga an 8 or a 9 seed and making a 1 seed play Gonzaga. Let's just move them to a 7.
Yeah.
Like type deal. Like, that's amazing that's, again, one of those deals where they misseeded somebody.
Yeah.
They screwed Gonzaga for having to play a team, if they beat Georgia, for having to play a team like Houston in round 2. And Houston, a 1 seed, is screwed by having to play a team that's as quality and is as good as the Zags.
Dude, they went to what you love the most, as far as the CFP committee, and they just looked at wins and losses. And like St. Mary's beat them 2 out of 3 times. So like we got to put St. Mary's on the 7 line and put Gonzaga on the 8. Like doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't, man. And Tyler's being facetious there. I despise that in football. Like, oh, so and so's got 11 wins, and so and so's got 10 wins. The
Yeah.
11-win team didn't beat a freaking soul, so let's just make they're obviously better because they've got 11 wins.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've got Houston playing the Zags. Mike White's done a wonderful job at Georgia. That's another one. Maybe this is why I'm not on the committee. I was shocked that Georgia was a 9. I thought they were going to be lower, personally.
Yeah, I mean, they respected the heck out of the SEC.
Yeah, they did. They did. And that's fine. They can still be in the tournament. But I
Mhm.
thought that I was surprised that they were a 9 seed. Again, Georgia's a tough physical bunch, plays good defense. But again, the Zags, they play really good competition in the non-conference. Teams like the Dons at San Francisco, St. Mary's, there's some solid teams in that conference now. In the West Coast Conference. So, it's not like the Zags hasn't played any good competition this year. But, I'll take Houston versus Zags and just an incredible round of 32. One of the best round of 32 matchups we could have if that's what it ends up being.
Heck yeah. I got Houston versus Gonzaga as well. I'm going to take Clemson over McNeese.
Same.
And I'm going to do it. I'm going to take High Point over Purdue.
Okay. Well, hey, man.
I got it in my bracket of integrity. And I think I just think, there's got to be – I don't have many upsets in the first round, but I think that's one of them. And I think I just think High Point's got a really good chance, man. Purple Panthers. Let's go.
Nice, dude. I've got Clemson versus Purdue. And by the way, that's an inside joke. The Clemson football fans came for my throat because I pronounce them Clemson all the time. They said there's no Z in Clemson. So I'm just going to start pronouncing it like Dabo does. Clemson. I've got Clemson versus Purdue.
Okay. Bottom half, I've got Illinois coming out on top of either Texas or Xavier. Xavier's favored by 2.5 in that game against Texas, but I could see either team coming out with a victory. But
same.
I got Illinois beating either of them, and then I got Kentucky over Troy. So I think that sets up a pretty good second round matchup with Illinois Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got the Flying Illini and Kentucky as well matching up, and that would be a fantastic brand of hoops brand matchup there in the second round in Milwaukee.
Yep, bottom pod there. I got UCLA, like I mentioned, taking on Utah State, beating them, and then Tennessee having no troubles with Wofford. So it sets up a good matchup there with UCLA and Tennessee.
Yeah, Rick Barnes and Mick Cronin. I'm with you there in that matchup.
Yeah.
I've got Tennessee versus UCLA as well. Starting us off at the top side of the bracket again, man. As far as the round of 32 goes, if this is what it ends up being, this could be the best matchup of. I've got another one we'll get to here in a second that it could end up being as well. But yeah, Houston and the Zags. I'm going to go with Kelvin Sampson and Houston in this one. I just think that their overall, just the physicality, their defense, the shooting, just everything that they've got that they can throw at you. I just don't think the Zags will be able to handle Kelvin Sampson and Houston now. So I've got the Cougs heading to the Sweet 16.
Yep. I'm with you, man. I got Houston. Like you said, it's a tough draw. And then I think they're going to get another tough draw here in the Sweet 16 because I got Clemson over High Point. That's where the Panthers run ends. And I think that Houston-Clemson matchup in the Sweet 16 with Chase Hunter and Ian Schifflin and those guys with Brad Brownell going up against Kelvin Sampson and those guys would be a good matchup.
I agree. That's what I've got in the Sweet 16 as well.
Even if it was Purdue, I think Clemson was beating Purdue. Like you obviously got Clemson over Purdue as well. So
yep.
Bottom half, Illinois, Kentucky, heck of a game. I'm taking the Illini.
You're taking the Illini?
Yeah, taking the Illini.
Okay.
Illini, you've got a team here who is 345th in minutes continuity this year. Like they have been ravaged with injury after injury this year, missing guys. But they've got, an NBA player at point guard and Yakusionis, Kylan Boswell transfer from Arizona. You got a Visic, Hummerkaus. Those guys can play. If they play up to their capability, they can be and hang with darn near anybody. But we've also seen them lose to Rutgers. We've seen them lose at home to a couple of teams like Maryland. I'm getting blasted at home by Maryland by 21. So I just think they get it done.
Didn't it get beat by like 150 by Duke in Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, it was 110 to 67. So obviously that did him no favors there. But Kentucky worries me a little bit. Like I think Lamont Butler's going to play, but Jackson Robinson doesn't sound likely. They got a couple other guys who don't sound likely as well. And I think Kentucky honestly was fortunate to get a 3 seed in my mind.
I was surprised, by the way, when that did come out. I thought they were going to be on the 4 line. Personally, but yeah, I was surprised they were 3. I've got the same matchup, Illinois, Kentucky, and I think that could be another one that could be just Houston and the Zags, Kentucky, Illinois could be 2 of your better matchups in the second round, and especially the style of play, the Kentucky-Illinois game. They're going to be Kentucky's just not very good defensively in general, but they get buckets. Illinois can get buckets as well. I think it could be a high-flying, high-scoring game. I've got Kentucky taking down Illinois, but I'm with you, man. If 4 SEC teams, 316?
4 SEC teams so far.
Oh, we still got another bracket to go, baby.
I know. We're keeping track.
Yeah. So, yeah, Lamont Butler's health, though, is huge. I mean, if he doesn't play, they don't even have a point guard. So, I need him playing, obviously, if they're going to make a run here. They are much better defensively when he's playing, because obviously he's really good coming from San Diego State. He was a really good point guard and a great defensive player at San Diego State.
Yeah.
He changes a lot of things for Kentucky. So I'm banking on him going to be able to play by that second game. And I think Kentucky takes down Illinois and Milwaukee.
Okay. And then UCLA, Tennessee. I got Tennessee coming out on top on that one.
I got Tennessee as well. That's 5.
5. Okay. Up top, Houston, Clemson. Like I mentioned, that's a really, really good matchup. Clemson, obviously, they pulled off some magic last year, going all the way to the Elite Eight, pulling off some upsets. But I think Houston, like you said, man, it sets up for them. It's a tough road. I mean, Gonzaga, Clemson, Tennessee, possibly that's a tough road right there.
Yeah.
But I think it sets up for Houston to get a win there in the Midwest Regional at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. And then, Battle of the Oranges, man, down at the bottom for me, Illinois, Tennessee. But I got Tennessee coming out on top too. So you're going to get either Kelvin Sampson or Rick Barnes in the Final Four for me.
Yeah, Tennessee's guard play, they've actually got some solid guard play this year. I mean, they always play really good defense, and they always rebound. But Chaz Lanier and Gainey, they're solid as can be. So Ziegler, obviously, he's done he's scored a little bit more this year for him offensively. One of the best defensive point guards in the entire country. Kentucky beat Tennessee twice this year. Beat them in Big Orange Country and beat them in Rupp. The old saying, it's hard to beat a team 3 times. I'm not sure how hard that really is. I'd love to see the metrics to back that up. They say that in football, it's hard to beat a team twice, and they actually show it. In football, it happens all the time. The teams beat another team twice. I just think Kentucky has Tennessee's number, and I think Mark Pope in year 1 gets the CATS, Cats to the Elite Eight.